Alright folks, skipping past the intro because this one started a little bit earlier than anticipated. I thought we had a few more seconds. So, welcome back to the Lycan League. This is still a best of one if you can believe it. Bam, 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 shotgunning these games out as quick as we can. Spawning here on the northern location of Anti-Research Station once more, we have the very patriotic, the pro USA Blue Evil Genius Terran XenoCider.
In the bottom position as the yellow Protoss, it's PappiJoe. Papa.
And before we get too far into this, of course, we need to give a sign of respect to our dear friend Fear Dragon. Fear Dragon 64 has just subscribed for 13 freaking months in a row. Dang, dude. That is.
You should be in the Caster clan.
Yeah, you know what? He's. That's what you. If you're in the subs for over a year, you get to come to the Caster clan. And,
yeah. Okay.
No,
well,
much love to Fear Dragon though. Seriously, he's been a big supporter for a long time. So it's good to see that number, man. Thank you very much.
I know we brought up President's Day when we last cast XenoCider. Is that why he can play today?
You know what? Probably because he doesn't have school. Yeah. I just realized what time it is. Yeah, I guess on a Monday, normally you would, of course, be in class at this hour if you're in the north of Americas.
Well, it's not north of Americas, is it? It's just north of America.
It's when I call people Norwegia. I'm really not too concerned because everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Or Canada.
Canada, yeah, exactly.
Canadians.
C-A-N-A.
Yeah.
Alright, PappiJoe is actually going to be going for what looks to be a proxy Stargate, and what I think is kind of cool about this is he's doing this in a very unexpected location. It's just outside the range of the watchtower, so if the SCV on the way back had decided to sit on it, you wouldn't be able to see it. It's normally over here on the left side or by the gold base you would scout for, exactly where the Reaper's heading to check. This is really unorthodox, but this is the best place to put it, by all things considered. I like this move a lot.
And this can definitely get you a win against a player that you otherwise don't think you would win against, like straight up. Oh, it looks like the SCV, the SCV saw how much gas was being taken, so we need to look for it.
Oh,
so.
You know what though? On top of that, one pylon in base.
Oh,
the second
like
you see, yeah, when you come up on the 16th supply, if that second pylon's not in base, you know it's somewhere it shouldn't be. And getting on top of this right away is gonna be a bit of a pain. The Reaper can kill the pylon before the Oracle comes out, but if he puts a second pylon down, yeah, it solidifies it quite nicely. I'm not sure if XenoCider would pull into this. I definitely don't think it would be worth it, but he is going to be able to prepare himself. In fact, even if this gets really out of hand, you can put a bunker down in a worst-case scenario, but the engineering bay is going to be the weapon of choice. So, turrets!
The Oracle might hit chrono boosted before the turret's done.
But I think the Marines will buy just enough time for that. I mean, they won't...
Yeah, it'd be like 1 second or 2 seconds, like probably not even worth it.
Actually, just even with the distance to travel, the turret should finish up, I think.
Yep, looks like it. He would be able to get the SCVs or like building buildings, but XenoCider's taking care of that as well. But on the missile turret, he's taking care of the possibility of an all-in follow-up with the bunker at the front.
It is fairly common. And the Oracle sadly will not get a lot done. But it did force out. I mean, the cost of the Oracle forced out 2 turrets really quick. It delays the second Raxes, the factories even later. I mean, it's done indirect damage. Not a lot, but it has done some indirect damage. Yeah.
What's nice about XenoCider keeping the Reaper alive is that he gets to get scouting, of course, even the next is actually put down. But he also gets scouting here, If there was a Void Ray popping out of that, you might not even have to scout the fact that he has 2 more gateways on the way back at home. Like, that would tell you. Okay, I need to be a little wary. And getting rid of the pylon, if you get rid of the Stargate, that's, no more headache, but usually the pylon's enough.
Yeah, I feel like
rarely do they come and recharge it.
Yeah, you get rid of the pylon like when you're moving across the map, like on the way, not going out of your way to do it.
Reaper will still survive. I mean, if the Stalker gets rid of the scouting, XenoCider still has to be worried. He still has to say, like, okay, what if he does have 3 more gateways? But without it, XenoCider knows that he can play a normal game. Of course, he already transferred over his command center, built that in the base just to make sure there's less area to take care of. I mean, XenoCider is looking really good.
Yeah, I would definitely concur. Stim pack timing as well is not even off. I mean, put by the normally you would expect something to be kind of screwed up timing wise, but it's all looking pretty well and good. Small shout out to KenPatch1, just resubbed by the way, back to back 2 months. Welcome back, sir. But yesterday actually I was streaming and Penguin wanted to do a TVP show match best of 3 just for funsies, and it was on Bandai as well. And I kind of felt like, okay, he wants to play Protoss versus my Terran. It's probably gonna go something stupid Oracle related, right? Tries to go the Roddy build on me. So it starts off with the Proxy Oracle leading into the Tempest and all that. But it turns out Proxy Widowmines are way better than Proxy Oracles. Lessons learned. I lost the series overall, but I won that game and it felt pretty good.
Good job.
So I'm just having, I guess, PTSD or whatever. You know, just the flashbacks of these Oracles. Like, oh, Penguin, go away!
We actually have a Warp Prism on the way for PappiJoe, which is always cool to see. Any Protoss uses Warp Prisms early on is pretty cool in my book. Protosses use it later on, just, you know, being Protoss.
It is hard to use them efficiently, though. It's not as simple as just unloading 4 Zealots. It's kind of like when Terran players go for a drop. Like, one drop is really not that big of a deal, because the whole army response if Photon Overcharge goes down. Same thing kind of with the Warp Prism. If there's only one drop, you just send all the Marines in the base to it. But if you got a small pressure outside the front of the base, maybe a Stalker or two just shipping with the supply depot, you distract XenoCider at the front, and then unload these Zealots into the natural mineral line. That's when you get the kills. That's when you do that really core damage. So if PappiJoe is just banking on this Warp Prism catching XenoCider off guard, I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, what he should do is go ahead and warp in the 4 Zealots, or actually just wait here as long as it's not being discovered, doesn't matter, and only use it when he sees the army moving out. Or 2 Zealots. Like, basically any amount of Zealots would probably at least make the Terran choose. So you always have that kind of like hiccup of like, should I go back or should I not? And then if they do go back, then that's awesome. The Stalker being out here at 10 minutes was bold. it should have died, and it did.
Well, he's going to catch XenoCider having moved out of the base. So sadly, it's going to be production he has to rely on, and production typically doesn't deal with Zealots too well. You could try pulling SCVs, but quite frankly, you'll have a bad time. So, choice to come back home rather than continue pushing, this kind of makes the Warp Prism already really effective. The same way drops tend to pull the Protoss army back, the Zealots have done the same thing here.
Yeah. I mean, this amount of units was enough to take care of it. XenoCider didn't have to pull the rest of his army back. And in fact, the Medevac's now just looking in the middle of the map, looking all lonely and stuff.
Well, the Warp Prism also gets out alive with all the Zealots inside it, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. I mean, the fear is always that they don't just warp in 3 Zealots. They warp in 4 more, or like 6 more because they're all inning, or something like that, you know? Like, you get the fear. But with only 3, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, back at home for PappiJoe, I mean, a force field will keep most of this army out of 2 bases, thanks to the way the ramp system works, but it's not going to be too difficult or too out of the question for XenoCider to just pick up and go, because there's only 2 Stalkers and a Photon Overcharge. There's really not a lot to stop this army from just being dragged and dropped directly on top of the Colossus.
If there's only 1 Colossus, definitely, but with 2, nah. Not unless it was like all Marauders.
Can you imagine how poorly Marines must be trained that that's their response? You see a Colossus, run into it, fire a couple of pin missiles, like, come on, guys. I know you're convicts and all that, but Jesus.
They're trying to shoot at the knees, right, to topple them, but it never works.
Dude, what if you could, like, okay, they bring the Herc back, right, and you get like the Star Wars effect, where you can just wrap the cables around the knees. Like,
oh my god, I don't know how that would work, but I wish it would.
It would be so cool! But that, sadly, all my ideas are always brushed off as stupid and silly. Actually, I tweeted this really dumb picture at Scion. I thought it'd be cool if like, you could hook the Hercs to each other and they could create like a net between them. So Zerglings couldn't just like flood past your army or something.
Oh, they need to bring back the oh my god, what was it called? The Shredder.
Yes, agreed.
Either the Shredder or the Expedition Turret or whatever it's called.
If any of you think that the Widowmine is bad, go look up the beta footage of the Shredder.
Yeah.
That puts the Widowmine to shame. The Widowmine looks like an SCV in comparison.
It does. It was not a great idea. We do have the Warp Prism dropping off, but we also have XenoCider about to do like a 1 part Doom drop, 1 part regular drop.
Yeah, this kind of comes back to that core tactic we were talking about earlier. You distract with one, and you go with the big drop with the other. So as he pushes towards pressuring this third, it might drop PappiJoe over to the side. PappiJoe also saw a pretty large army supply left at home for XenoCider. Might not be thinking there's a lot of these drops segmented off. He's going to leave 1 Colossus behind, but quite frankly, this is going to die. XenoCider gets in here pretty bold, but there he goes, boosts on the right side while this is going on. Now, he doesn't know that there's only 1 Colossus here, but turning the Medevacs onto it immediately, stims towards that Colossus. It goes down pretty damn quick. He'll probably be able to focus the Nexus and get out of here. There's not enough stocks to focus on the Medevacs, but picks up, goes away, because once again, he goes back to the main. In with 1, out with the other, hit with the left, and go with the right.
Would have lost a lot of units to go for the Nexus, so I like that he picked up. He can always continue this harassment, plus he's already denied the 3rd base, he's already on his own. Like, he doesn't have to commit to sniping a base, even if it does look tempting.
Finally, some Vikings get into the
really?
fray to start dealing with the Warpers, but more importantly for the Colossus a little bit later on. I do like that we have Storms available soon, but where are the Templar? You know, have these ready to feed back those medevacs. If you ever want to space jam, space slam down a medevac, you do it with a feedback.
I want to space slam down a medevac. Where did that come from?
It's just, that's kind of what it looks like the feedback comes from above, and it's like a hand of God just smacking it down like, no.
Space jam. Okay.
By the way, I was looking into, you know how we had talked before about the Colossus sounds are kind of lame? It'd be cool if they had like the Mass Effect Reaper noise instead or something, like the dubstep laser. So it turns out that's like against terms of service. So you can't do that. Basically, if we did it in a tournament, Blizzard would very quickly delete our mod for us.
Wait, so we can use First Blood for Mortal Kombat, but...
Because it doesn't replace any game sounds. It doesn't remove the original Colossus sound and put it with another game.
Okay, alright.
Also,
yeah,
this is not just for Mortal Kombat, this is for like a million different things.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, that's like what's like most well known. I should have rated it. But.
Well, it's gonna go with the Concave, and this army fight doesn't even have to go well for XenoCider. It probably will, but this allows him the opportunity to get into that natural base once again. Only a meager amount of stalkers here to defend. Maybe a storm.
Feedback.
No feedbacks. Okay, here's some feedback. You should feedback the medevacs. I want a second opinion. Okay, you're ugly too. But this base gets absolutely wrecked. The storm finally goes down, but there's only a couple of cannons. He picks off the pylon if he wants. Nope, doesn't deny the warping at all. Just goes for the Nexus Snipe. Continues to win the fight outside of the main simultaneously, and XenoCider now is massively ahead in this game. Yes. GG. USA, USA, USA.